So anybody come up with some big insights yesterday about the story? That the great fixer?
Soda, hayta mamash soda.
The feast was a feast. Did you have a feast last night?
No, but I'm like really into this whole concept of like the spiritual hunger and like, you know, like just what are you really hungry for? What are you really eating? Like making a feast, but like not just about the food, you know, being joyful and like, you know, It's not a deep insight, but like it
is a deep insight. One day we're going to learn, like, you know, that everything that's in existence has a physical reality and it has a spiritual reality that makes it manifest into be. And like when you make a blessing on the food, what you're doing is you're releasing the or you're opening up to receiving the spiritual energy of the food, not just the physical, not just the physical energy of the food. So if you go back to page 81 for a minute, and there's one paragraph I want to reread now that we've read the story. The fourth line on the page, right? Actually, no, but right at the top of the page. So yesterday, 81. We're gonna move ahead, Michal. We're not just going back. We're going ahead backwards.
Go back, guys.
I'm saying we're going ahead backwards. But anyway, so yesterday, what we finished off with yesterday was Rav Shlomo tells the story about the great fixer. You familiar with the story, the Rav Nachman story? He was talking about the guy, the great fixer. You familiar with it? Where are you from?
I'm originally from New York. I live in D.C.
Yeah. And you live where?
In Washington, D.C.
Yeah, welcome. So this guy who's going around fixing things all the time and so on, and despite all the hardships, right? He always tries to figure out a way to make sure to have a feast at the end of the day. In other words, he knows that without some joy in the world cannot exist. Okay. So this whole lesson that we've been learning, it's been about spiritual hunger, right? And learning how to listen to people and how to, like, you know, to be able to really hear when people are saying, like, you know, oh, I need some food, or I need this, I need that. To try to listen to what's behind it, to the spiritual hunger that's behind it, and to learn how to respond to it, right? So, and back on page 81, at the top of the page, I'm going to reread that paragraph and you'll see how it relates with the story, okay? HaKadosh Baruch Hu bara et ha'olam b'shisha yamim. God created the world in 6 days. V'haguf shelanu hu chelek mi'habriyah hazot, and our bodies are a part of that creation. V'lachein ze lokeach zman l'rapei et haguf, so it takes time to heal the body, right? In other words, the world, we're part of the domain of time and space. אבל הנשמה שלנו היא לא חלק מהבריאה, but our souls are really not part of the creation. הנשמה היא חלק אלוקה ממעל. Our souls are actually a part of the divine above. ומעל ומעבר לבריאה. Our souls are not limited by the creation. Right? You've heard stories about tzaddikim who can do what they call it, astral travel or something like that. Last week was the yahrzeit of the Baba Sali. And I've heard a story that the Baba Sali's wife reportedly said that one Friday afternoon, she walked into the Baba Sali's room before Shabbos, and sitting there was the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Mm.
Did you give her $1?
No, she actually wasn't supposed to have gone into the room. She said that she inadvertently opened the door. So, I mean, you read all these stories about the Baal Shem Tov and telling his wife and driver, Alexei, just let go of the reins and turn around, and the horses would go on their own, and they would travel great distances in short periods of time. I mean, the whole idea of kfitzat haderech is not a new idea. The Rashi is already mentioning it in the Chumash by Yaakov Avinu, and so on. So in the laws of nature in the world that we live in, like, what are you talking about? It takes so many hours to get from point A to point B, period, right? But that's true in the world of nature, according to the laws of nature. That is the way it is. Does it mean that nobody can transcend that? No, it doesn't mean that. So keep in mind that the Visioner Rebbe once said, not the Visioner, the Sanzu said, if you believe every Hasidic story, then you're a fool. If you don't believe them, you're wicked. Okay? In other words, you don't have to believe every story, but to say that, no, this is not possible, or that's not possible, it's not like that. Okay? Because otherwise you're going to say that this week's parsha is about Shabbat Shiva, the splitting of the sea. What are you going to say? It's not possible? Shem did it. But I didn't see it. So go to Hollywood.
No, but we're not talking about God doing it. We're talking about human beings.
No, they didn't do it themselves. There's some way. So, but here's the point, okay? But the more practical point is this: that your neshama is a part of God. The neshama itself is not limited by this world. Today is the 9th of Shvat. Okay, tonight is Yud Shvat. Tonight is the yahrzeit of the Frierdiker Rebbe, the second last Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was the only Hasidic Rebbe who actually defied the entire communist regime and kept Judaism alive right under the noses of the communists. He was nearly killed. He was severely beaten. Hasidim of his were executed for teaching Aleph Beis, for doing a circumcision, for doing shchita. Okay. And then when he arrived in America in 1940, so one of the children of one of his Hasidim said to him, as he was getting off the boat, he says, Rebbe, America's different. You're not going to be able to do what you did in Russia. And he said, America's no different. And you should know that when Chabad arrived in America, Chabad was like a motley crew. Ask him. He saw them in the 50s. Okay? They were a motley crew. No Lubavitcher had his shirt tucked in. No Lubavitcher had a hat that wasn't smashed 50 times already, and so on. Okay? True? and look at where they are today, all over the world, right? And you should know that the Jewish academics at the end, after the Holocaust, you know what they were writing? They were writing articles saying about that the Hasidic era is over. That's what they were writing. They said the Holocaust, because you should know the Holocaust wiped out the vast, of the Hasidim, like 95% of all Hasidim were wiped out in the Holocaust. Okay, like handfuls survived from this group, a handful from this group, a handful from this group, and so on. So by worldly standards, you would say that it's over, it's finished, but we're not limited by world. The soul is not limited by worldly standards. So you're gonna have to look in with Michal. Okay?
The worst things.
Yeah. So he says, the soul is the soul is beyond the creation. It doesn't take time to heal the soul. And this is, I went over this last night, and this is what you really need to know. You need someone else's soul to help you. You need the divine spark of another soul. The connection with holiness that the other person has, in order to heal a soul. Later on, he says that for souls we don't use the word refuah, but what he means is tikkun, right? And this is this is the story of the fixer, right? It's the feast has to be a feast. You need somebody else to reignite your to re-illuminate your flame, and that's the parable of that we were learning at Hanukkah time, right? How many candles can you light with one candle? An infinite amount, right? Fire, your flame can light her candle to light another 100 candles, those hundreds, etc. It goes on infinitely, right? Because the soul is not of this world, right? Okay. והיום זה כבר דבר ידוע, שרוב הזמן שהגוף של אדם עייף ויגע, that most of the time when a person's feeling tired physically, זה בגלל שהוא עוד לא מצא את האדם שיתקן לו את הנשמה. It's because he hasn't found somebody to fix his soul, right? And right, so if you ever find yourself feeling tired, or you find somebody else feeling tired, know that it's very likely not the body that's tired, but rather that it's the soul that needs to be re-stimulated, right?
So what does one do if one feels tired?
You sit down, you open up, you go, you do a mitzvah, you sit down, you learn something, or you call up a friend that can put you back in the right space. And the main thing is also to do this for others. You've told me the story a number of times about this person in your shul, right? That nobody speaks to and so on, and then you decided, okay, you're going to say good Shabbos to him, etc., right? So what did you do? All you did was you said good Shabbos to him, right? And that made a big change in that person, right? And so it's like a soul reigniting another soul.
So it's not necessarily reaching out for somebody should ignite your soul.
When you need it, you should. But you should realize that, in other words, you should realize that there's two dimensions to your life. There's the physical dimension, when you're hungry, you got to eat, okay? But there's also the spiritual dimension, and that is you can stuff yourself and still be hungry, right? Or you can eat just a little bit of food and feel totally satiated. That's already a function of where you're holding with your neshama.
When you first read this sentence, they said it was the most important. My first understanding of that was we need another person. Sometimes I need another person to give to.
Also,
And when I give to, that could be healing for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could work that way also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe that's what it means. Maybe that's what it means that a man should not be alone. Maybe that's one of the functions of a spouse is to ignite a neshama of the other.
Well, that's for sure.
That's what it this is
That was amazing.
for sure. Ezer Kenegdo. Right? Okay. So we're holding at we got to page we finished the story yesterday. We're on page 90. Okay.
So just to
Yeah. Go ahead.
hammer
please.
it home here. So the great fixer is what is this like prototype of a person who is there to help other people with their souls. When he talks about something's being broken, I help them fix it. He's not stunned talking about a washing machine or whatever. We're talking really about the inner dimension of the soul,
Yeah.
and that we could all be.
But
master fixers.
right. But sometimes it's just the washing machine.
Sometimes it is a washing machine.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then I told you the story the other week that I just heard it recently by the sons of Rebbe. Said there was this fellow who was like a very devout person, and he was in the Beit Midrash all the time, learning or praying, and he'd fall asleep there. So one day I fell asleep on the bench, and one of the descendants of the sons of Rebbe was like a practical joker a little bit. So he went and he took some soot, from where the candles are, and he covered his face with soot and made it all black. And then he woke him up and he says, "The Rebbe wants to see you." So he gets up and runs to the Rebbe's room and knocks on the door. The Rebbe opens up and takes a look at him. And he says, "Yankel, why is your face so black?" He says, "Rebbe, that's why I'm here. You see all my sins." And he says, "Yankel, just go wash your face." So he says, "Rebbe, if I would only know where to get that water to wash my face, I'd be so much better off." And he says, "Go wash your face." And the Rebbe knew who did it, and he called him and he said, "Don't do that again to him." There's you understand, learn to be sensitive, to pay attention to what's behind the person's questions and so on and so on. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's just the washing machine.
I think it's really interesting that he's saying you need another you need another person.
Another soul, yeah.
Like you said, like not like sometimes it's nice. It's like you need another person.
You need, and so when I said to Michal, open up a sefer. So for example, you should have access to what Shlomo used to call it a cash Torah. You don't leave the house without some cash in your pocket. You should have a teaching handy with you. Like, for example, the Rebbe Rav Zushi used to carry with him two pieces of paper, and one it was written, "I'm dust and ashes," and the other one was written, "The world was created for my sake." Like you said, just have a teaching with you, something that that you connect with again, when you're reading something from the Baal Shem Tov, or when you're reading something from any teacher, or even from the Gemara, you can say, "Okay, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, okay, what are you trying to tell me?"
Okay, and that could be like the soul of another person.
It says that when you're learning Torah, if you're learning it on the right level, the lips of the rabbi who said this in the Talmud are moving along with your lips as you're reading the words. You understand? So it's a living thing, Okay, so we're on page 90. Please allow me to share one more thing with you. תארו לעצמכם שאדם הכי חולה וחשוך מרפא בעולם, יהיה בריא במשך יום אחד בשנה. Imagine a person who's like the most sick in the world and there's no cure for him, חשוך מרפא, would suddenly be healthy for one day a year. Right? Because he's got this strange illness, 364 days of the year he's sick, one day of the year he's healthy. מה היה קורה? What would happen? הוא היה מתגבר על חוליו, he would overcome his illness. Right? And it was from that one healthy day, his health can be restored. כי אתם יודעים מה קורה לאנשים חשוכי מרפא. You know what happens to people who are told that there's no cure for them? כשהם לא יכולים לזוז וללכת, when they can no longer move or go, walk about, הם מתייאשים. They're basically giving up. They're going into despair. וחושבים שהם כבר לא מסוגלים להבריא, and they think that they're not capable of being healed or getting healthy again. אבל אילו הם היו רואים שיום אחד בשנה הם כן מצליחים, but if they would see that one day of the year they are able to walk around, אז הם היו מבינים, they would understand, שאולי הם צריכים קצת תיקון, אבל זה אפשרי, then they would understand, maybe I need a little bit of fixing, but it's possible. Right? הדבר הראשון שצריך לעשות כדי לרפא או לתקן אותם, the first thing that needs to be done to heal or fix them, הוא להראות להם במשך דקה אחת, to show them at least for 1 minute, שהם שלמים, that they are okay, that they're complete. Does that ring a bell?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Right?
I-
Go ahead.
I've seen it with drug addiction. You know, you bring somebody into a community and you show them that there is hope and that other people have gotten past what they're going through, and
so-
it lights that spark.
It lights that spark that they can believe that they too can be better, right? But besides that, when I say there's a ring a bell, I don't know if I've learned it with this group yet, but Rabbi Nachman's most famous teaching is known as Reish Pei Bet, teaching number 282. It's known by the name of Azamra, right? And Rabbi Nachman speaks about looking and focusing on the positive, the nekudat tova in another person, and also in yourself. Rabbi Nachman says something there that sounds magical, and it is. And that is that whatever it is that you're focusing in the other person or on yourself, if you're focusing on something positive, you're literally moving the person into a positive space. If you're focusing on something negative, you're putting the person into a negative space. That's true for the way you look at others. It's true for the way you look at yourself. Okay? That's reality. As much as it sounds magical, it is reality. That's the way it works. Okay? And what Rav Shlomo is saying over here is like this, like, you know, like if there would be, if the patient comes to the doctor, if for 1 minute he can get him to, he can convince him that you're okay, then that can restore the person's faith that they're going to be okay. Okay.
Even if
We
it's for
believe
1
in
minute.
we even if it's just for 1 minute, yeah. We believe in Tchiyat HaMeitim, right? The revival of the dead when Mashiach comes. According to our tradition, how is that going to happen? So there's a bone in your head over here, where the kesher of the tefillin goes. There's a bone in the back of our head. It's called luz, and even though the entire body decomposes, when we're buried, that one little bone does not decompose. Okay? And it's from that one little bone that the entire being is going to be reconstructed. Okay? Now, science is getting closer to understanding that right away, because, like, for example, one of the things that some researchers are working on is that, given that every cell in your body contains the entire genetic code of your entire body, so they're trying to understand. So how did these cells know to become a nose, and these knew to become an eye? But basically, the basic material of your being is there in every cell. So it's not as difficult to accept the idea that one day from that little bone, the entire body can be reconstructed. But even if we do understand eventually how it's going to happen, it only happens. It doesn't happen because we understand it. It happens because Hashem makes it happen, right? So this is the entire or the essence of Rav Nachman's Zamra teaching in these few lines over here. If you can get the person to back into the space of their nekudat tova, of their positive point, okay, from there they will move on to the next positive thing, and the next positive thing, and the next positive thing, right? A few weeks ago, I had an acupuncture treatment, right? And I was having trouble with my sciatic in the left leg, and the guy stuck a couple of needles into my hand over here. So I asked him, okay, so what's the connection, right? And he says, so you know about meridians, right? Like the body's wired in all kinds of ways, and so the principle that he was explaining to me was that he's basically getting this part of the hand over here is connected with the sciatic there in the left leg, and he's stimulating this part of the body, which is okay, to send energy to the other part which needs a boost in energy. Okay, and that's how we interact with each other, right? You know, like somebody's not feeling so great today, whatever it is, and you give them a nice good morning, a nice hug, and so on. Why should that make a difference to them? Well, it does, because we're wired. Plain and simple, we're wired. You know, wired and wireless. You've heard of that? You know, there was a conference of archaeologists, of the Middle East archaeologists, and the Egyptian archaeologists got up and they said they dug around the Nile and they found cables that were 3,000 years old, which proved that Egypt was the most advanced technological society back then. And the Israelis got up and they said, we dug all over the country. We didn't find a single cable. It proves that we were wireless. Okay. So we're wired with each other in a wireless way, right? Okay, good. So, atem yodim shekasher ba elecha adam shavu. You know, when a broken person comes to you, ha'ezrah rishona mibchina sichlit v'ruchanit she'efshar lateit lo, the first aid that you can possibly give him, intellectually and spiritually, he laharot lo sheyachol lihiyot shehu tzarich tikun, is to show him that yes, maybe he needs some fixing. But right this minute, he's not sick at all. I want to tell you something very deep. What is prayer? What is it? What does it mean to stand before God? When I'm praying, at the moment that I'm standing in front of God, I'm not sick at all. ואתם יודעים, רבותיי, מה ההבדל שבין לפגוש חבר שקצת אוהב אותך לבין חבר שממש אוהב אותך מעומק הלב? This is one of Shlomo's very often quoted teachings. He himself would say this many times. He says, what's the difference between meeting a friend who loves you a little bit and meeting a friend who like really loves you from the depth of his heart? כשאתה פוגש חבר שקצת אוהב אותך, when you meet a friend who likes you a little bit, אולי אתה נהיה פחות עצוב. So maybe you'll be a little bit less sad. אך אתה עדיין שבור וחולה, but you're still broken and sick. אבל כשאתה פוגש חבר שממש אוהב אותך, when you meet a friend who really loves you, אתה כל כך אוהב אותה שאתה כבר לא מרגיש חולה. You love this person so much that you don't feel sick anymore. אתה ממש שלם, you're really whole again. Right? And that's the gift and the power that we have to help one another. It's reality.
And that really works. With
Yep.
everybody?
If they let you. I mean, it is possible to shut people out. Right? But look, you remember we were sitting here and learning Rav Nachman, and Freda was sitting right over here, right? This woman from Toronto, and we were learning about thinking positive, about the positive in another person, and I said you can even do it long distance. Do you remember Freda? No.
She's an older woman.
Yeah. So and I said you know, and we stopped the lesson, and we took a couple of minutes, and I said to everybody, think about someone that you want to communicate with, and focus on something positive in that person. Right? Just focus on something. Focus on that person. You can do it right now. Focus on something positive in that person, and give them a blessing. Wish them well. And we did it, and you can do it now too. Okay? And then I said, and don't be surprised if you hear from them in the next 24 hours. 6 o'clock in the evening, she phones me up. She says, I got to tell you this. And this is somebody from her family that she focused on during the lesson. And she hadn't spoken to in years. They weren't getting along well. And she says, they phoned me just now. Okay? It's reality, right? You want to learn to be a Levi. Right? So, Kacha, take the top off, yeah. So, and the moment that you do that, the moment that you focus on their positive point, at that moment they're okay, right? When your best friend comes in, you know, all of a sudden you don't feel sick anymore. Right? זה נכון גם ברמה עולמית, and it's also true on a worldly level. Bottom of the page. העולם שלנו מדבר על שלום כל הזמן. Our world is talking about peace all the time. תארו לעצמכם, imagine אם היינו יכולים להביא דקה אחת של שלום לעולם. Imagine if we would be able to bring 1 minute of peace to the world. כבר למחרת היה שלום אמיתי בכל העולם כולו. Then there would be peace, there would be real peace in the whole world right the next day. כי העולם אינו באמת מאמין בשלום. The problem is that the world doesn't really believe in peace. הוא לא מאמין שיהיה אי פעם שלום. People don't believe that there's ever really going to be peace. העולם כל כך חולה, page 91. The world is so sick. במשך כבר אלפי שנים, is already thousands of years, שהוא לא יכול לתאר לעצמו שיבוא יום שבו באמת יאהבו אחד את השני. That people can't imagine that there will be a day when people really love one another. Okay? It sounds simple, it sounds childish, right? But some things children still know that adults don't know anymore. Right? Like once Shlomo said, the two kids are fighting over a toy, ready to kill each other, and then 5 minutes later they're best friends. And the teacher goes over and says, I don't understand. 5 minutes ago you wanted to kill each other, and now you're best friends. And the kid looks at the teacher, that was 5 minutes ago. It doesn't have to be that way forever. Right?
So cute.
It doesn't have to be that way forever. But adults think that way. You haven't seen somebody for 25 years, and you see them all of a sudden, and you remember, oh yeah, 25 years ago, you're the guy who stepped on my toe. What you learned yesterday or this morning, you already forgot. But this guy stepped on your toe, that you remember, right?
So what are you saying, that we grew up and we don't behave like children anymore?
Yeah.
Sometimes we should.
And certain things we should. Remember, we learned a couple of weeks ago, Reb Nachman says that memory was given to remember the future, and forgetting was to forget the past. Our problem is that most of the time we remember the past and we don't remember the future.
How can you remember the future?
The future, that it can be better, that it will be better. Okay? And I'm telling you something very deep. Maybe it's going to sound very simplistic, but it's very deep. It says in the verse, love your fellow like you love yourself. Who is this friend? And this is one of Rav Shlomo's amazing teachings. Now the word reyacha, by the way, a little bit in parentheses, a little lesson in Hebrew here. What's the root of reyacha? Come on. No. Two letters. Come on. Ra. Reish ayin. And the same root means reya, your friend, and it also means ra, evil. Okay? Baal Shem Tov explained that there are many verbs in Hebrew, many roots in Hebrew that they from pole to pole, they have 22 layers of meaning. You should know that Hebrew is the most sophisticated language. Okay? And so we have to love your friend like you love yourself. So Rav says, Rav Shlomo, who is this reyacha? It's the person who's standing next to you. The person who's sitting next to you right now, that's the person that you have to love like you love yourself. And open your hearts. God isn't asking us to love the whole world forever. The Torah is telling us that all that is necessary to do is to open up your whole heart to whoever you're meeting. You're going to meet somebody for 1 minute, open your heart. So you know the story, this woman is sitting on a bus here in Yerushalayim. She's not dressed all that modestly. And so this religious guy is sitting next to her, takes her an apple, and he gives her the apple. He says, she says, what's this for? He says, this is that, to remind you that you have to get dressed better. So the next day.
Oh, you left that alone.
Wait.
No, you left it alone.
Oh.
What's this for? Well, when Eve ate the apple,
she remembered.
She realized.
Yeah, they understood. So the next day she sees him and she gives him an apple, and he says, "What's this for?"
When Adam ate the apple, he realized he was going to have to work for a living.
That is so good.
Oh, that was so good.
Is this a real story or
No.
doesn't matter?
No, but it had
Could be a real story.
Of course it has.
That's so
it
good.
is
It's not that far.
so good.
If you're gonna point the finger at you, at somebody else, they're gonna point it
Oh,
back
man,
at
I'm
you.
gonna retell that. That is so funny.
Okay? So, אתם מבינים כמה זה עמוק, you realize how deep this is. הקדוש ברוך הוא לא דורש ממני לאהוב אותך לעולמים. God isn't asking me to love you forever. אולי אני לא כל כך מחבב אותך. Maybe I don't even really appreciate you. אנחנו לא משתתלים באותו גל בכלל. We're not on the same wavelength. Literally, we're not broadcasting on the same wavelength. הנשמות שלנו, our souls, אפילו ששתיהן חלק אלוקה ממעל, even though that our souls are both a part of the divine from above, הן לא קשורות כל כך אחת לשנייה. We're not necessarily from the same strand, so to speak. אלא שבאותו רגע שאתה עומד לפניי, but at that moment that you're in front of me, אני צריך לפתוח לך את שערי הלב שלי. I have to open up the gates of my heart to you. Okay? It's worth memorizing these two paragraphs.
Slicha, these two paragraphs, in a perfect world, this can happen. But ordinary people,
Ordinary people are intended to make it happen.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, it seems really realistic to me. Like if you're just looking at, and when you're actually intersecting in life, like how challenging could that be to like open up your heart for 5 minutes, 10
It still
minutes?
is.
See, most people when they say hi, how are you? They're sort of unfortunately telling you, please don't tell me, right?
Right.
So like playing that and going for like
Right?
But
It's-
Israelis are like more
Open.
open
Right?
of like, how are you? It's like actually having a really terrible day.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate.
So the thing is, okay, so even if you say like, like I don't really like this person that much, but for 1 minute I'm gonna open my heart to them. It's not gonna kill you.
what does it mean, open my heart?
You give them you give them dignity. You give them your time and your patience, and actually listen, and don't like. Oftentimes, I'll be talking to somebody, and everything about them I either don't like or I'm judging them or something. Immediately, I'm like, I need to get away. But listen, give them respect and time and dignity, and like make them feel like they're being heard. For 1 minute, it makes a massive difference. And then, oftentimes, my initial reaction, which was like not, it changes.
It changes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Someone one time told me, if you want to know if people are listening to you, the next time somebody says, how are you? Say better. If they were listening, oh, weren't you well? If they were not listening, let's say, isn't that nice? Have a nice day." But you're right.
Okay. תדעו עוד דבר מאוד עמוק. I want you to know another thing that's very deep. מה שאני חושב על הקדוש ברוך הוא, whatever I think about God, הוא לצערנו נובע ממה שאני חושב על עצמי, is sadly emanating from what I think about myself. אם אני בטוח שאני מגושם, if I'm sure that I'm just very physically attached, there's, אולי עליך אני לא יכול לעבוד. Maybe I won't be able to convince you, but אבל אני באמת מרגיש שהאלוקים שלי הוא גם לא משהו. As if I think that I'm just like a physical being, like another animal in the world, it's very likely that I don't think very highly of God either. Right? דבר אחד אני יודע, one thing I know, כי בצלם אלוקים ברא את האדם, God created man in the image of God. אבל אם אני מבין שאלוקים שלי הוא ממש מרומם, but if I realize that God is really exalted, אז כנראה שגם בי יש חלק כזה, then that means I must have a part of that exaltedness as well. אם אני טועה אפילו במעט, איך שקדוש ברוך הוא קודש הקודשים, if I make even a small mistake, I'm sorry, I misread. אם אני טועם, if I taste, אפילו במעט, איך שקדוש ברוך הוא קודש קודשים, if I have the slightest taste of how God is super holy, המושלם שבמושלמים, the most complete of anything complete, זה אומר שגם בי יש חלק כזה, that means that I also have some connection with being complete. Right? Tell you once that somebody stopped Rav Shlomo in the middle of a talk, said, "Excuse me, Rabbi, but I don't believe in God." Shlomo said, "It's okay. The God that you don't believe in, I don't believe in either."
He went over to a person who was not from.
No. Somebody in the middle of the shir said, "Rabbi, you're talking about God, but I don't believe in God." And Shlomo said, "It's okay. The God that you don't believe in, I also don't believe in." Right? אתם יודעים, רבותיי, כשהקדוש ברוך הוא דיבר איתנו במעמד הר סיני, when God spoke with us at Mount Sinai, הנס לא היה הדיבור שלו איתנו בלבד. The miracle was not just that he was talking with us, אלא שבאותו רגע היינו גם מושלמים מכל הבחינות. The miracle was that we were totally, perfectly complete in every way. מבחינה פיזית, שכלית ורוחנית, we were physically and intellectually and spiritually complete. Right? Rashi brings it down over there. Those who were deaf were healed. Those who were blind were healed. And another aspect of this particular last teaching is that God wants us to relate with Him, not just from a place of like, oy vey nebuch, I'm so sick, I better turn to God. God wants to relate with us as perfectly healthy people. You know, our problem very often is that when everything is working well in my life, I don't think about God too much, right? But that's exactly when Hashem wants to have the relationship. More so than when I'm just needy. Right? Okay. So the Seder will stop over here for now, okay? And Yehoidu Lashem Ki Yehoidu Ki Yehoilam Le'elam Chado Yehoidu Lashem Ki Yehoilam Le'elam Chado Yehoidu Lashem Ki Ki me'olam chasai v'yoyim Hashem Ki tai Ki me'olam chasai Haydu Hashem Ki Yehoilam Le'olam Chasai Haydu Hashem Ki Yehoilam Ki Yehoilam Titi la 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 Say hi to your mother.